to Fernandina Beach, Florida, where the sun rises over the Atlantic Ocean and sets over the shimmering waters of the Amelia River. First inhabited by the Timacuan Indian tribe, Fernandina Beach is known for its long stretches of deserted beach, abundant wildlife, and a historic and charming seaport town. It's a beach paradise considered by many to be the ideal escape from everyday life, or in this case, an escape from a dark and disturbing past. In 2018, 50-year-old Jennifer Seibert had found a fresh start in Fernandina Beach in a hair salon called Tangles. It was her 5th job in 6 months, and this time Seibert hoped it would last. She spent years running from her past and years hiding too many dark secrets. One of those secrets was the fate of 35-year-old Kimberly, who had gone missing from her hometown in Butler County, Pennsylvania in the mid-2000s. It had taken Kessler's family 8 years to file a missing persons report, and still not a single friend or family member had any idea whether Kessler was alive or dead. Seibert, though, knew exactly what had become of Kessler, and it was information she guarded with her life. But trouble and suspicion seemed to follow Seibert everywhere, and wherever she went, it was the same. People were always plotting against her, and it was happening again now at Tangles. Most of the problems seemed to be stemming from one particular co-worker, 34-year-old Jolene Cummings. Jolene seemed to have some sixth sense about Seibert and her past, and she wouldn't let up on probing questions about her background. Worst of all, she wasn't trying to hide her suspicions from their co-workers. Jennifer Seibert felt ready to explode. On May 18, 2018, Seibert confronted Jolene. As it happened, Jolene had caught Seibert eavesdropping, and when she went outside with another co-worker, Seibert deliberately followed them. Jolene now turned on her. "You're a fake," Jolene told her. "You're crazy." Seibert didn't argue. She'd already worked out exactly how she was going to deal with Cummings. At their shift at the salon the next day, Seibert struggled to stay focused. She wasn't sure if she'd pull her plan off. Jolene wasn't helping. She kept asking for help with clients. Seibert hid behind a wall with her phone and pretended to be confused by Jolene's questions. Jolene was furious, but she kept up a cheerful front with clients. It was her birthday the next day and Mother's Day, and Seibert knew Jolene was looking forward to celebrating it with her 3 young children. This video surveillance footage captures Jennifer Seibert in the early hours of May 13th at a gas station a few miles from Tangles. She explains to the manager that the red marks and scratches on her face are from an altercation earlier that night with a friend's ex-boyfriend. She asks the manager if she can use his phone to call a taxi. She needs to return to the salon. She's got a little more cleaning to do. At 1 p.m. on May the 13th, Jolene's ex-husband, Jason Cummings, was waiting at a Winn-Dixie in Hilliard to hand the 3 children he shared with Jolene over to their mom. She was an hour late, which was unlike her, and not answering her phone. Jason was worried. It was her birthday and Mother's Day, an odd day to be unreachable. Reluctantly, he returned home with their children. Something was very wrong. The thought was a terrible one. His relationship with Jolene had ended some time ago, but Jason still deeply cared for Jolene. That afternoon, he phoned Jolene's mother, Ann Johnson, who reported her daughter missing to local law enforcement earlier that day. The Sheriff's Department immediately issued a missing persons flyer, and on the morning of May 15th, they arrived at Tangles Hair Salon, where they asked to speak to Jennifer Seibert, believed to be the last person to have seen Jolene. At that precise moment, Seibert was parking her car outside the salon when a co-worker messaged her saying the police needed to speak to her. She immediately reversed and drove away. She then phoned the police station, explaining that she was unable to help because she had a stalker who would locate her police now took a closer look at Jennifer Seibert. The address she had given the manager was bogus. All of her previous addresses were bogus as well. Officers located Seibert asleep in her black Kia Soul at a rest area in St. Johns County later that evening. She had band-aids on her face and hands, which she explained were to cover the scratches from riding her bike through a tree branch. It was clear she had been living in her car for some time. Meanwhile, deputies found Jolene's abandoned SUV at a Home Depot parking lot. Local surveillance footage showed the vehicle entering the parking lot at 1:17 a.m. on Sunday, May 13th. Several minutes later, someone exited the SUV, but it was not Jolene. It was Jennifer Seibert. Deputies arrested Seibert for the theft of Jolene's car on May 16th and brought her into the St. Johns County Jail. Once there, they stumbled into the first of many bizarre revelations. According to the Social Security number provided to them, Jennifer Seibert had died in a car crash in 1987. Fingerprints revealed that the woman in their custody was, in fact, the missing woman from Butler County, Pennsylvania, Kimberly Lee Kessler. One missing person had been found, only to become the prime suspect in the new missing persons case. But why was Kessler using a stolen identity? As investigators pieced together the bizarre past of Kimberly Kessler, a chilling picture began to emerge and a horrifying new possibility. Was Kessler involved in other unsolved disappearances? Born in 1968 in Butler County, Pennsylvania, Kessler was the eldest of 3 siblings. By all accounts, she had had a normal childhood and was well liked by her peers. But one year, while still in her early teens, classmates noted a distinct change in her. It was so drastic that one former classmate said it was like she had finished a term as one person and come back as someone completely different. She used to run with the popular kids, said the classmate. Then it was like something had snapped. Everyone was frightened of her. Kessler's change of personality was so extreme that one former friend took to staying under her radar. She was a scary individual, she said. Ray Wyant, who knew both Kessler and her brother Bob, said that it soon became clear that Kessler had developed a violent temper. If you crossed her, the repercussions were extreme. Once, after a fight with her brother Bob, she waited until he had gone to sleep, then crept into his room and smashed him in the mouth with a baseball bat, knocking out most of his teeth. Tim Barnes dated and lived with Kessler for a short time after high school. He remembers her rages. During their time together, she killed his cat with a shotgun, stabbed him in the chest, and assaulted his father. In 1987, the same year that Seibert died, Kessler's brother Bob was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that killed his friend. Rumors at the time were that someone, meaning Kessler, had run him off the road. At the time, Kessler began to show interest in aliases. Her ex, Tim Barnes, told detectives that he once went with her to visit a graveyard where her father was buried. Instead of going to her father's grave, she walked around looking at gravestones of girls her age whose names she could steal. Xylon Losi married Kessler twice in the early 1990s. Both times she was living under the alias Melissa McKernan. He described their relationship as crazy. In 1996, Tim Edwards dated Kessler before the two had a child together. He knew her as Miranda McKernan, but she put the name Christina Brooks on their son's birth certificate. The fake names, she told him, were to hide her location from her abusive family. Meanwhile, she told her family that she needed the fake names to hide her location from the abusive father of her child. In 1999, Kessler's son was removed from her care by social services. She turned up at their offices with a handgun in an unsuccessful attempt to get him back and then skipped town. Neither her ex nor her son heard from her again. Kessler began mentioning her desire to leave town months before she had disappeared. She claimed it was because she was scared of her ex. July 4th, 2004 was the last time anyone in Butler County saw her. Between 2004 and 2018, Kessler traveled from state to state and job to job, doing everything from waitressing to stripping. In 2004, she got a cosmetology license using a fake name in Florida. A man who knew Kessler at that time said she was odd. She couldn't hold a job. She got accused of stealing from jobs that she was at. She was vindictive, one acquaintance said. If you got on her bad side, she would make you pay. She also began collecting new identities, like people collect shoes. She was a chameleon, adopting a new persona, scamming, stealing, and then disappearing, only to turn up somewhere else and do it all over again. Her behavior became increasingly erratic. One man she friended on Facebook said the day after they started chatting, she drove from Florida to Texas to meet him for lunch. That same day, she asked him to marry her. He turned her down, then blocked her, only to later discover from police that she'd been following him on Facebook under 7 different aliases. One ex described her as insanely jealous, saying that she had such severe fits of rage that he feared for his life. He eventually involved the police and then left town. Kessler got married again. During an altercation, Kessler stabbed her husband with a pair of scissors. I've known some crazy women, he said, but she was out there.
I heard something about she had stabbed you with some scissors. Can you tell me about that?
Kessler rented a room from a Clearwater man in 2009 under the alias Jennifer Seibert. She accused him of breaking into her house and urinating on her bed before he had her evicted. People she worked with described her as bizarre, erratic, and secretive. One former co-worker said she felt Kessler's history was concocted. She knew her by the name Mia Stone. One day, she just abruptly vanished. In 2014, Kessler trained at a Jacksonville Hair Academy. According to her instructor, she carried a notebook and wrote down everything that was said. At one point, she climbed into a cabinet just to see if she would fit in. She asked the girl if she could keep a piece of sunburned skin, which disturbed her instructor so much that she checked out her criminal background. By 2018, Kessler had lived in 14 states, 33 cities, and had at least 17 aliases. She had become an expert at identity theft and a master of different disguises. With each different identity, she changed how she dressed, walked, and talked. Before joining Tangles, she worked for 1 week at a store called Woody's Barbecue, also in Fernandina Beach. Her manager described seeing her eat a pound of beef using her bare hands. Another co-worker said that she sensed she was odd and told her daughter to be careful of her. In April 2018, Kessler walked through the door of Tangles, this time as Jennifer Seibert. Her manager soon became aware that there was something strange about her, but she'd already been given the job. Whenever she left work, she would see Kessler sitting in her car, watching her. Out of all of the staff at Tangles, though, it was Jolene Cummings who realized just how concerning their new employees' eccentricities were. She wanted to check her criminal background, she told a co-worker. There was something not right, and it was a feeling she just couldn't shake. Jolene couldn't have been more right, but tragically it was too late, and chances were it had been from the moment they crossed paths. During her initial interrogation, Kessler appears irritated when she is asked which name she would prefer the police use. She reminds officers that fingerprints don't lie. My name is Kimberly Kessler. Kim, she said. When asked about Jolene, she dismisses knowing anything about her, although she manages to slip in that Child Protective Services had been called on Cummings and that she had once seen a small bag of meth in her bag. The detective then abruptly changes tact. He confronts Kessler with a slew of evidence linking her to a violent altercation with Jolene Cummings. When the detective waits for her response, Kessler says coolly, "So, let me reply this way, and you may not like the answer. I would like legal counsel." On May 22, 2018, Sheriff Bill Weber announced that investigators had reason to believe that Jolene Cummings was not alive, and revealed that Kimberly Kessler was being held on a $500,000 bond. An intensive search for Cummings' body began. Kessler still wasn't talking, but she didn't need to. Police had uncovered a mountain of evidence, not only implicating Kessler in Jolene's murder, but showing that she planned it for weeks. Several weeks prior to Cummings' disappearance, Kessler had taken a photo of Jolene's appointment diary for April. Then, on April 30th, 2018, Kessler had searched co-worker guilty of killing co-worker, missing person body not found, and no body, no crime. This was 12 days before Cummings went missing. In the days leading up to Jolene's disappearance, thousands more searches were found in Kessler's phone, including autopsy, cadavers, murderpedia, victimpedia, female murderers by country, and Florida female murderers. She also searched images of Jolene, info about meth addicts, and plastination, a method of conserving anatomical specimens. On May 5th, an employee at a boating supply store called police about Kessler's odd behavior. She had gone into the store to buy heavy-duty zip ties, and at the counter had given him a sheepish grin that spooked him so much he felt a need to inform authorities. At around 1 a.m., the morning after Jolene's disappearance, surveillance video shows Kessler driving Cummings' SUV into the Home Depot parking lot in Yulee. Minutes later, Kessler is captured at the gas station, calling a taxi with scratches on her face. She then returned to the salon. Video surveillance footage from that same morning captured Kessler purchasing trash bags, gloves, an electric knife, and a large bottle of ammonia at Walmart. She is later seen on video struggling to move 2 heavy white trash bags to a dumpster near the hair salon. Meanwhile, police had uncovered extensive blood evidence linking Kessler to the crime. At the salon, detectives found blood stains in the reception area and desk, on the walls, chairs, cabinets, and sink. Luminol revealed the presence of blood on a mop and blood in the mop strokes on the floor, suggesting an attempt at a cleanup. A tote bag dumped outside the salon tested positive for blood. At Kessler's storage unit, Cummings and Kessler's blood was found on her black combat boots, a sock, and a pair of scissors. They also found 5 different license plates, 3 different cell phones, 4 wigs, and several cut ponytails. After her disappearance, Kessler searched how to dismember a body. 357 searches containing Cummings' name were made over a 48-hour period. When Kessler was arrested, deputies said she had several injuries on her hands, arm, wrist, and thighs, and a patch of hair was missing from her head, and she had a bite on her thumb. Investigators believe Kessler dismembered, then disposed of Cummings' body in a dumpster. In July 2018, police and the FBI searched the Treasure Island landfill in Folkestone, Georgia for Cummings' body, but to no avail. With Kessler now held in jail on a bond of $500,000, the woman who had dumped her family 14 years earlier without a word now decided it was time to give Mom a call. Kessler told her mom that she needed her to post bail for her immediately. When her mom asked if it was true that she had been involved in a missing persons case, Kessler claimed the line had cut out, and before this time instructing her to pick up her belongings, including a motorbike and bicycle. She blamed all of the media coverage on the Illuminati. "I've got the Illuminati on my ice. I can't prove it, but no one even gets 5 seconds worth of airtime unless they have some kind of connection to the Illuminati." Within weeks of her incarceration, Kessler requested to move jails. When officers refused, she went on a hunger strike. A week later, law enforcement agreed to relocate her. But within days, Kimberly was again requesting to be moved, this time to a psychiatric treatment facility. When officers refused, she went on a second hunger strike. This one lasted 56 days. Kessler made the process of attaining justice for the Jolene Cummings family as painful and prolonged as humanly or inhumanly possible. Kessler was first indicted for first-degree murder on September 7, 2018. Because of her antics, her trial did not begin until November of 2021.
Well, erratic behavior, a hunger strike lasting months, and profanity-laced tirades, all on display today in Nassau County Court, where a judge tried to determine if Kimberly Kessler should be sent to a mental hospital. Remember, Kessler is accused of killing Nassau County hairstylist and mom of 3, Jolene Cummings. She has been in jail since her arrest, but as Underside's Troy Kless learned today, her alarming weight loss also has meant that she is making nearly daily trips to the hospital.
That's Kimberly Kessler at a hearing to determine if she is mentally competent to stand trial. She left the hearing soon after. The psychologist testifying for Kessler's public defender said her mental state is unstable. Kessler may have gone on a hunger strike, dropping from 196 to just 74 pounds. But deputies at the jail say she started eating this weekend.
For Friday, she has been binging like 6 peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
The deputy said Kessler wanted to show she could eat when she felt like it. Defense lawyer Janet Johnson says Kessler's behavior makes the competency analysis complicated.
I'm sure the judge is going to consider, is that the behavior of someone who doesn't understand what's going on? Or the other side of the coin is that someone who's willfully sort of making a statement because she does understand what's going on?
Multiple competency hearings and in-court outburst forced repeated delays. A judge finally ruled Kessler competent, surmising that she was not delusional, but manipulative and a psychopath. Her refusal to cooperate was not due to mental illness, but because she didn't want to, he said. One juror said Kessler was very clever to start out. She knew what she was doing, but now she wants to say that she was crazy. Her behavior in the Nassau County Jail traumatized guards and staff to the point that they celebrated with cake and ice cream when she was finally transported to the Florida Women's Reception Center. During her time there, she starved herself almost to death threw feces at guards, smeared feces on herself, walls and windows, stripped naked and verbally abused staff with sexual and demeaning comments. She lost more than half her weight from the time of her arrest, dropping from nearly 200 pounds to 74. When she finally appeared in court for the pretrial process in November of 21, she was again removed for repeated outbursts. At one hearing, she appeared strapped in a wheelchair, yelling that a member of the public defender's office was related to Cummings and that they were conspiring against her. In their case against her, the prosecution had no body, no weapon, and no confession. But on December 9th, 2021, a jury found Kessler guilty of first-degree murder on the basis of overwhelming circumstantial evidence. She was sentenced to mandatory life in prison. Justice has been served, her mother said. Jolene was here. I felt her. During a press conference, Nassau County Sheriff Bill Lieber made a spine-chilling comment. I don't believe her for 1 second that this is her first murder. She's evil. evil in the flesh. Could Kessler have been a serial killer? Investigators found more than 60 names on Kessler's phone, labeled with words like Satanist, witch, and evil murderous gang. During her jailhouse interviews, investigators repeatedly asked about 2 names from that list. A man named Kurt Christopher Allen, who had died in Jacksonville in 2014, and Grace Darling Bartley, who had died in Kessler's hometown in 2009. Her obituary said that she was married to a Tim Bartley. Both Bartley and his brother Wayne are on Kessler's list. One thing we know for certain, even before Jolene's tragic and violent death, Kessler stabbed at least 2 men. These are men who lived to tell the tale. How many didn't? As for her disguises, while Kessler was clearly unhinged, she also had a good reason to hide her identity, with warrants out for her arrest in multiple states, and who knows how many crimes she had left in her wake. Kimberly Kessler inflicted an inconceivably horrific and terrifying death on an innocent woman whose only crime was to recognize the evil within her, an evil that would soon take her life. She stole a beloved daughter from her mother and a beloved mother from 3 children. Her family have requested only one thing since Jolene's murder: the location of her remains. Kessler's refusal is the final confirmation we need. There is nothing human inside Kessler at all. Grief is only the beginning, Cummings' mother, Ann Johnson, said to me first closed meetings, especially for Jolene's 3 children. The hardest part is waiting for justice, waiting for Jolene's remains to be found. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like the video, comment down below your take on it, and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell in order to stay up to date each time we reveal a new shocking case. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.